Elite Nerf Cam Review. Included is the blaster itself, a 12-round magazine, the instructions, a 4GB memory card, the little screen shield, and some Elite darts. I will go over the externals, show you how it works, show you the firing, and then give you my opinion. Starting with the front, it does not have an in-strike attachment point, so you cannot attach barrel extensions. Under here is an in-strike tactical rail for foregrips, flashlights, whatever. Under here is a nice comfortable foregrip for your hand. You can place it under there while firing. On this side of it, here is the pause start button for the camera, which I'll go over in a minute. Up here is an iron sight, which funny enough, it does not have a rear corresponding sight, so you just have a front iron sight, and it's actually way out of view because of this huge rail. So from firing position, I can't even see that iron sight. Right here is actually the camera. This is called a Nerf cam. It does have a built-in camera, which I'll go over in a second. That little pinhole right there is actually the camera lens. Up top is an in-strike rail for optics or any other accessories you want to attach. Right here is the little shield, the LCD, and the controls for the camera. So to power on, you hold down the power button, which is the center orange one. That little audio was out of the gun. Again, that's the power button. This is the play stop button. This is the selector, and that's the trash can button. To start a recording, you press this button over here. So now I'm recording, indicated by this red light. This is on video mode. And then to stop recording, you would press the button again. And now that's off. Now you want to press the review button to watch the actual video on this little screen. Now that you can select which video you want to watch. Go back to the same one I just shot. You can press play. Now I'm recording, indicated by this red light. This is on video mode. So obviously that's a piece of garbage video, so I can delete it by doing this. And now it's off the memory card. That's how you view it on this actual camera. If you want to take this SD card and put it into your computer, you can also modify the footage that way, but that changes per computer and per software, so I'm not going to go over that. The camera lens is in the front here. As you can see, the opening for this lens is very, very small, so if you try to touch it, if you try to shoot darts at it, it will not be damaged. And there's a speaker in the blaster which emits sound out of the side of the blaster, so when you play a video, you can hear the audio coming out of the shell here. It's not particularly clear, but it is there. Moving back is the access door. You can open that up to clear a jam if you're using bad darts or you misfire. Under here is the magazine well. It includes a 12-round stick mag. Half of it's transparent and half of it's opaque. This is a pretty common magazine right now. Inserting and removing the magazine is very smooth. I'm very happy with the magazine well. The magazine release is very similar to the Strife. It's very crisp, very comfortable. You can either extend your middle finger like that and completely remove with your left hand, or use only your left hand and use your thumb and remove like that. And because it's in the center line, it's ambidextrous. If you're left-handed, you can very easily use this blaster. This trigger actually fires the blaster. It is a semi-automatic blaster. It's not fully automatic, which means every time you pull the trigger, it fires one dart. You can't hold it down and fire off a bunch. Right below that is the rev trigger. When you hold this, you rev up the flywheels, which actually propel the darts, so you need to hold that down before you pull the primary trigger. The grip is very large compared to a lot of Elite blasters right now. I'm very comfortable with this grip. It's very large, it's ergonomic and very smooth, and I'm very happy with it. Because of its width, though, it's not going to alienate really baby hands. It's comfortable for big hands and very comfortable for little hands as well, so this is the ideal grip in my opinion. Down here is a lanyard or sling attachment point. This goofy shield is the battery tray. There's one on either side. One operates the flywheel blaster, one operates the camera. You cannot operate the blaster without the batteries operating the flywheel. However, if you don't have the camera batteries in, you can still shoot the gun, you just can't operate the camera. Moving back is the stock. This is a fixed stock. It does not adjust, it does not remove itself. It's fixed on there, you can hit it hard. It's going to be very stable, which is nice for the stability. However, it's not as convenient as some other detachable blasters for actual storage. And then there's another sling attachment point back here. The length of the stock is on par with a lot of the current stocks right now. It's definitely longer than the Retaliator the Retaliator stock, but it's not as long as like the Lightning Storm stock. Only a big issue if you're a huge person like me, this just feels a little small in the rear, but if you're a kid or not 6'3", it shouldn't be a big problem. So operating the blaster is very straightforward if you've ever used a flywheel blaster. First, you load up your magazine, you insert that. Of course, you have batteries in the blaster. You hold down the flywheel button, and then you pull the trigger. So I'll show you some firing tests. "61, 63, 65, 62, 66, 65 feet per second. video of outside. This is through glass. Sort of walking around. Firing or revving. As you can tell, my audio is acceptable without any other noise. Right when you start revving up, my volume hasn't changed and you just can't hear anything. So this is quick as we're trying to actually nerf. Feels weird pointing a gun at myself, but as you can see, the video just isn't really that good. Comparing it to my iPhone, because that's a viable option or alternative if you want to record your gameplay. You already have a smartphone and you don't want to spend $80 on this toy. I'm intentionally spending just to challenge the camera more. As you can see, it's shooting close to current elite ranges. It's shooting a little actually under par. It's shooting averaging 63, 64 feet per second. The average right now is about 69 giggity or 70 feet per second. So it is shooting a little softer than a lot of blasters, and these were fresh AA batteries that I range tested it on. So going over my opinion on the blaster, it's kind of mixed. Ignoring cost completely in the beginning, it's a solid blaster. It's fun to use, it's smooth to operate, it shoots similar to par. It's a little under par, but it's not a big deal. And after modification, it wouldn't be a problem at all. It's comfortable. I like the size of it. I like the ergonomics, the fit of it. It's all very nice. The camera feature is pretty cool, so no real complaints about the actual design of the blaster. However, this blaster right now is retailing for $80 US, 80, which is absolutely absurd in my opinion. Calculating for cost, I cannot recommend this blaster to anybody. If it were $40, which is the Demolisher cost right now, I could recommend it because it's a fun blaster to use, it's pretty cool, and the camera's pretty neat. But the camera quality is so crappy, it's unbelievable. If you're active on YouTube, you're probably familiar with the comment, did you film this with a potato? Which this is pretty much a potato camera. This is just terrible. This is not acceptable for 2014. If this came out in the year 2000, this camera quality would be acceptable. But right now, 1080p is the standard. If you do anything other than that, unless it's a high-speed camera shooting at beyond 60 frames a second, it's simply under par and just garbage. And I hate to be so negative, and I know I'm being picky, and it's just like, oh, this kid complaining about his camera quality, it's a camera. Well, it is, but it's an $80 camera, so I'm expecting a little bit more out of it. It's really not worthwhile to spend 4 times what you would be on a Strife, which is what this blaster is, just to have a crappy camera. If you like the size and bulk of it, a Demolisher is still half the cost. You could buy 2 Demolishers and dual wield them instead of buying one of these. I just don't see any reason to suggest buying this. And I hate to be so negative because the blaster actually works well. I like the colors, I like pretty much everything about it except the price, but the price is a huge factor for pretty much all consumers. Nerf doesn't send me this stuff. I buy it myself. The only reason I could justify spending $80 on a Nerf gun with a camera is if it were a high-speed camera or it's shooting 1080p at least 30 frames a second. 60 would be incredible, but you can't really expect that. Or at least 720p at 30 frames a second, which would be acceptable under today's standards. It would be under par because my iPhone shoots at better quality than that. If you have a smartphone or any quality camcorder or video taking device, I would recommend buying either a Strife or Demolisher if you want a semi-auto blaster that's very similar to this, battery operated flywheel blaster, and then buying a smartphone case or a mount for a rail system and using that. It's a higher quality video camera for a significantly lower cost, unless you really, really like these externals and ergonomics. I don't think I've had a review like this where I really like the blaster, but I can't recommend it just because of the cost. So hopefully I gave you all the information you need to make an informed purchase if you choose to buy this or another blaster. If you have any questions or comments, leave them in the section below. Otherwise, thanks for watching. So if you can't tell, this is a Demolisher with a Stampede stock. The Stampede does not have any functional internals. It is only for the stock because I think it looks cool. It adds a level of